Summer is fast approaching, and I think it's time we took a little bit of stress out of our lives, isn't it? With HelloFresh UK, you can get all the ingredients and inspiration you need to make your meal times and your cooking experience simpler than ever. HelloFresh provides a number of recipes and meals to make your life as easy as possible and also caters to a wide range of different dietary requirements. Use my special discount to get 50% off your first order plus 35% off the next three and 3 free gifts as well. What more could you ask for? Check out the discount link or the checkout code down in the description below. Well, has anybody recovered from the first legs yet? We are here today for the League One playoff semi-final second leg predictions, and my word, the first legs did not go as many people expected. I spent most of last week dealing with and responding to comments trying to justify why I didn't pick a Sheffield Wednesday win at Peterborough, but even I can't admit that I expected them to lose 4-0. That was ridiculous. The other tie is very tight. We'll get into the second leg and talk about the extraordinary results at the weekend. But first, let's have a quick recap of what happened at the weekend. For those of you that don't know, where have you been? On Friday night, Peterborough United, who snuck in 6th place on the final day, beat Sheffield Wednesday, who finished on 96 points by 4-0. On Saturday, a much tighter affair as we expected. Bolton drew 1-1 with Barnsley. And to be fair, many of you did better than me down in the comments. So let's have a quick recap of what you guys predicted. Most of you went for a Sheffield Wednesday win and fell down. But a big shout out to 2 people who picked up 4 points out of 6. 2 of you predicted a Peterborough win and a 1-1 draw between Bolton and Barnsley. Those people, Steve Daytona, who even said your League One knowledge was limited. It's either beginner's luck or an absolute masterstroke. And Chris Welch, exactly the same. You both predicted a 2-1 Peterborough win, but also the perfect score in the other tie. I do feel like I have to give a shout out as well to the other 2 people in the comments that predicted a Peterborough win. Leo Max, you said Posh would win comfortably. You predicted a 2-0 win. And David Crowley, you predicted a 2-1 win. So the 4 of you, well done for predicting a Peterborough victory. And to the top 2, well done for predicting the other perfect score. With that all done though, we have got a chaotic situation because we've got to predict the second legs. We'll start with the game on Thursday night, the game that, well, shocked the world in a reverse fixture last week. It is Sheffield Wednesday versus Peterborough United. At Hillsborough, under the lights, it promised to be a wonderful occasion. What is it going to be like now? Because at 4-0 down, I know the playoffs produce extraordinary things. I know that the playoffs do the unthinkable. But there's the unthinkable, and then there's maybe the impossible. A 4-0 deficit, I guess Sheffield Wednesday look at it and say, well, if we can lose by 4, we can win by 4 as well. But the psychological blow that must have caused, you probably can't explain. To finish on 96 points, to be so far clear in third, and then for that to happen is just remarkable. Peterborough were so ruthless, so clinical in front of goal. In terms of the balance of the whole game, it was actually a pretty even match. It sounds hilarious to say. Sheffield Wednesday had plenty of chances, didn't create anything too clear-cut, and Peterborough were outstanding. Maybe there was a penalty claim for Sheffield Wednesday, but let's be honest, when you can see goals like that, when you're letting nearly every chance against you, you're not going to be able to get results, no matter what goes for or against you. Peterborough United, outstanding. Darren Ferguson, a very happy man. Is he going to do it again? Is he going to take the 6th side up? We should have known from last year, the playoff final was 5th v 6th. We might still have that this year. Peterborough have got to be favourites now. There is no doubt in that. I thought Sheffield Wednesday would win the tie, even though I predicted a draw in the first leg. I do think they've got to win this game, though. There's a couple of reasons I say that too. Darren Moore's job is on the line. I don't know if he's going to stay after this. He's had a brilliant season, and any other year they'd be top 2, but that was a humiliating defeat, and then such a big game, and to fall in the semi-finals twice in a row, I don't know. It's going to be a very difficult one to recover from. I do think they'll be the best side in the league next year, but that's going to be a very difficult thing to think about now. For Sheffield Wednesday, they've got to win on the night. They've got to do something for the fans. It will probably be sold out. It was purchased well in advance. I'd imagine a few might not turn up now. But there is another side to this too. Peterborough away from home this year do not really draw games. They've won 11, they've lost 11, they've only drawn 1. They score a lot of goals. They're the 3rd highest scorers on the road this year. But he also let in a fair few, with 29 conceded. So if Sheffield Wednesday can get 1 or 2 early goals, you never know. If they can get to a position where they're 2 up at half time and they haven't conceded, then perhaps you would back them to do well. But Peterborough are one of the best scorers away from home. You always fancy them to get a goal. And Sheffield Wednesday are not going to be able to start cautiously. They are going to have to come out like a train, and they're going to have to try and get the fans vocal. If they score in that first 10 or 15 minutes, Hillsborough will be rocking, and then you never know if the unthinkable can happen. But without that, if Peterborough can hold tight for 20, I think we all think it's tie over, don't we? For Sheffield Wednesday at home, they've been remarkable all season. Only 1 defeat at Hillsborough, the second highest scorers at home in the division after Ipswich. 49 scored. I tell you what though, they could do with 5 of them on Thursday night. I just don't see how it happens. I see Sheffield Wednesday winning the game. I can see there being a moment of nerviness, but maybe Peterborough to then nick an away goal as Sheffield Wednesday have to throw caution to the wind. I'll be interested to see what sort of lineup he goes for. Will he go for the same 11? Will he trust his first team? Or will he maybe make a few changes for this one? I'm not too sure which approach he takes. But I think Sheffield Wednesday win on the night. I think they'll win pretty comfortably on the night. And now, because of that remarkable first leg, it's probably not going to make a difference. If they score too early, you never know. But I'm going to go for a 3-1 Sheffield Wednesday win. Peterborough, dare I say it, if they get to the hour mark and they've got, maybe only a 1-goal deficit or they're level still, would even think about resting people for Wembley. I don't know. It's a remarkable thing to say in a playoff semi-final. But for me, Peterborough going through an aggregate. 4-0 is just too much. If they'd kept it at 3, maybe a chance. But for me, I'm going to go for Peterborough to lose 3-1 on the night. And that will send them through pretty comfortably, I think. 5-3 on aggregate. But what an astonishing first tie. Not one of us predicted that score. Let's move on to the second game, shall we? Because on paper, there's a lot more riding on it. It is Barnsley versus Bolton at Oakwell, one of my favourite old stadiums in the EFL. And the last time these two played on Saturday, they played out a 1-1 draw. It leaves the tie on a knife edge, but it is not really the game we were expecting. Barnsley will be furious in my opinion, because they had so many opportunities to create great chances on the counter. Bolton scored with their only shot on target, and yes, they dominated the ball, they kept it for a long time. Maybe it won't have such an impact in League One as it does in the Championship because there's more days between the fixtures here. But the fact that Barnsley on the counter created chances, maybe didn't look for that final pass, a few too many looking for the headlines with opportunities. Bolton will be delighted with the point. We mentioned it, they've got that sturdy defence. Is that going to make the difference in the playoffs? They go away from home now, it's going to be a big test for them. But they have got a good defensive record. Only 1 game conceded away from home. Albeit they don't score many, and they do draw a few too many away from home. We did say this was going to be the hardest tie to separate, didn't we? I know I predicted a Bolton win in a home leg, but I still think this tie has the potential to go all the way. There's always a couple in the EFL playoffs that do, and this one definitely got the ingredients for it. For Barnsley at home this year, only 1 draw, and maybe that is the thing that puts me off going for this prediction. They've scored loads of goals at Oakwell, but they have let in 24, which is the worst of any of the top 5 this year. I wonder how the game's going to play out in terms of possession. Will Barnsley take on a little bit more of an onus in this one? Because if Bolton play on the counter-attack, you could argue they've got the players to cause a threat too. It's a really tricky game for me. There's part of me that thinks from the start, and I said it last episode, that Bolton are going to nick these playoffs. I'd love to see Barnsley come up because I love the stadium. Looks like after Luton's first leg, we might have an away day. And of course, Barnsley have got Harry Isted in goal, who's on loan from Luton and has been a good servant for us too. This is going to be so close. I've got to stick with my hunch, and I feel Barnsley are a good side. I feel there's every chance to get through. But there's part of me that just thinks Bolton are going to nick it. I don't really have any great logic behind it, but then the Peterborough game showed no logic at all. I feel Bolton are going to nick it. I've thought from the start of the playoffs they're going to go up. Maybe it's the omen of 5th place after Sunderland last year. You'd fancy who comes out of this game says, well, actually, against Peterborough, we've got one hell of a chance because they finished 6th. They were further behind. I'm going to go for Bolton to win it narrowly, maybe not deservedly. I think it's going to be a very even game. But Bolton to nick it by 2-1. I really don't mind who gets to the final because these two teams, they've been so evenly matched and they're both very good sides who I've got a little bit of a soft spot for different reasons. I'm going to go for Bolton to nick it purely because I've just got a feeling. But this one is definitely one of the ties in the playoffs that could go either way. And it might well go down to the wire. Let's have a quick recap of what I've just predicted then. I have gone for a Sheffield Wednesday win on the night against Peterborough. A 4-goal deficit, just too much to overturn. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for them at Hillsborough. I don't really trust a clean sheet either, to be honest. And then for Bolton Barnsley, so much tighter. It's going to be so tense. Could it be Victor Adebayo against his former club? Could it be Cameron Jerome, the January signing from Luton? I'm not sure, but there's part of me that's just saying Bolton are going to nick this and maybe even go to the final and win it. Might be wrong. Don't mind if I am, because Barnsley are a great side too. But I have gone for Bolton to nick it by 2-1. You agree with me or disagree with me? I appreciate there's not much evidence from the first legs to suggest my 2 winners on the night. But who do you think will be in the League One final? You're the people that matter. Let me know your comments down again in the prediction. Nobody thought Peterborough would win 4-0, so I'm sure we'll get some surprises this time too. It's just a bit of fun, so give us your scores. We'll see who's right. If you beat me, you'll get a shout out in the recap, which will be ahead of the final next week. It's going to be a massive day for 2 sides at Wembley, but which 2 is it going to be? Be bold in the comments. Who thinks Sheffield Wednesday's coming back? We'll see if they can produce a miracle. But thank you very much for watching as always. If you did enjoy it, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. We had our Championship second leg predictions. Those 2 ties are very tight. They're up in the eye above from a couple of days ago. League 2 to come later in the week. We'll be at non-league finals day at Wembley this Sunday. And we've got our end of season prediction reviews coming later this month after the finals. You can also find links to our brand partners down in the description below. HelloFresh UK and NordVPN. But thank you very much for watching, your incredible feedback from the first leg predictions. Hopefully your side produces a good performance in midweek, and maybe you'll have a trip to Wembley. We'll be back next time for the League 2 semi-final second legs.